Hello again. So, you want to connect your ideas like a pro. These connectors will help you sound smart, logical, and maybe even a bit fancy. Just don't use them all in one sentence. Here they are. First up, contrast connectors. But introduces a direct qualification, exception, or opposing idea to the initial statement. Example: I want to go, but I have homework. However, signals a sharp pivot, concession, or contrast to the statement immediately preceding it. Example: she loves ice cream, however she's lactose intolerant. Although, introduces a concessive clause that makes the main statement surprising or unexpected. Example: although it rained, they went to the beach. Though functions identically to although, but is more conversational and can be placed at the end of a sentence. Example: I like cinemas, I prefer home, though, despite the fact that introduces an undeniable counter-reality or concession, followed by a full clause. Example: he smoked despite the fact that he knew it was bad, in spite of. Expresses contrast or concession, used before a noun phrase or paired with the fact that before a full clause. Example: in spite of bad reviews, they tried the restaurant, whereas directly juxtaposes two opposing realities or characteristics side by side. Example: she likes sweet, whereas he prefers salty. On the one hand, / on the other hand. A dual-part connector framework used to balance and contrast two divergent viewpoints, pros or cons. Example: on the one hand, the job pays well. On the other hand, it's far away. While used contextually to establish a clear contrast between two contemporary situations. Example: I love reading, while he loves movies. Even though, a highly emphatic version of although, used to underscore a strong concession. Example: even though he studied hard, he failed. Even if establishes a hypothetical concession, indicating that the outcome remains unchanged whether the condition is met or not. Example: even if it rains, I'll run the race. On the contrary, denies the validity of a prior statement to introduce a completely opposite reality. Example: it must have been great. On the contrary, I hated it. In contrast, signals an explicit comparison highlighting the distinct differences between two subjects. Example: women cook more. In contrast, men spend less than 5 minutes. Yet, introduces an unexpected contrasting fact that coexists with the initial statement. Example: he's busy, yet he finds time for the gym. Nevertheless. Formal transition indicating in spite of that fact. Concessive marker. Example: they'll likely lose. Nevertheless, they must try. Nonetheless. A highly formal alternative to nevertheless, meaning regardless of what has just been said. Example: these are serious issues. Nonetheless, we have a plan. Still, emphasizes that a fact remains completely true or relevant despite a preceding counterpoint. Example: the restaurant was dirty. Still, the food is delicious. Which brings us to condition connectors. When we want to express the idea that something can happen only in certain conditions, we can use conditional connectors. If establishes a primary condition necessary for a specific result to happen. Example: if it rains, we'll stay home. Unless operates as a negative condition, meaning except if or if not. Example: I won't forgive you unless you apologize. Provided that a formal conditional phrase meaning on the strict condition that the specified requirement is fulfilled. Example: I'll lend my car provided that you return it. As / so long as. Specify a conditional limit, meaning only on the condition that, or while this remains true. Example: use my laptop as long as you don't break it. Supposing that, asks the listener or reader to imagine or assume a hypothetical scenario to consider its outcome. Example: supposing you were on a desert island, what would you bring? On condition that. Explicitly binds an agreement or action to the complete execution of a strict requirement. Example: I'll drive you on condition that you pay for petrol. Which bring us to our next section called example connectors. For example, introduces a specific instance, case study, or fact to clarify and support a generalized assertion. Example: many fruits work for smoothies. for example, berries and bananas, such as introduces specific items that belong to the general category just mentioned. Example, we sell vehicles such as cars, trucks, and motorcycles, like an informal direct tool for introducing examples that share similarities with the subject. Example, some enjoy outdoor activities like hiking and camping, including signals that the subsequent examples form a component part of the larger collective group mentioned. Example, many pasta dishes exist, including spaghetti and lasagna, namely, used to explicitly name, identify, or enumerate the specific items just referenced generally. Example, there are 3 types of programs, namely word processors, spreadsheets, and design software. Until indicates the point in time when a specific state, action, or condition ends. Example, stay here until the train arrives. In the meantime, bridges the gap between the current moment and a future event during the intervening period. Example, the restaurant is full. In the meantime, have a drink outside, for instance. Serves as a direct stylistic alternative to, for example, to illustrate a point with a specific scenario. Example, many ways to learn exist. For instance, try the story learning method, which brings us to our next section called comparison connectors. Likewise, compares 2 distinct entities by showing that they perform or experience things in the same manner. Example, John is a great cook. Likewise, Mary is skilled. Unlike, prepositional comparative tool used to point out a definitive lack of similarity between 2 subjects. Example, unlike his punctual brother, Tom is always late. By comparison, evaluates 2 discrete situations or metrics side by side to highlight their divergent trajectories or states. Example, oil rose 3%. By comparison, gold fell 4%. As, and, as, a comparative structure used to establish precise parity or equality between 2 subjects or characteristics. Example, the pizza was as delicious as the one in Italy. Compared to, examines the traits of one entity relative to another to contextualize scale, size, or quality. Example, compared to New York, Milan seems small. Similarly, indicates that people, features, or behaviors share a strong, common parallel or characteristic. Example, she swims well. Similarly, her sister is a great swimmer. Next up, we have summary connectors. In conclusion, formally signals the final paragraph or statement of a discourse, wrapping up the core thesis. Example, in conclusion, exercise improves mental health. To sum up, consolidates a complex set of arguments or facts into a brief, high-level overview. Example, to sum up, the policy helped company profits. All in all, considers all elements, metrics, and variables collectively to deliver a comprehensive, final evaluation. Example, the event was well organized. All in all, it was a success. To conclude, a formal summary marker used to introduce final deductions derived directly from the preceding body of evidence. Example, to conclude, the evidence supports the hypothesis. On the whole, provides a general, broad assessment of a situation, overlooking small details in favor of the overall outcome. Example, on the whole, the movie was good, but the ending was disappointing. Now, go connect to your neighbor or psychiatrist. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.